Hey guys, so today we're going to be taking a look at the Summoner backpack from Chrome Industries. And this is the first bag I've tried out from this company, and I was excited because I had heard so many great things and I'd seen some really good videos about this bag specifically. So I went ahead and ordered one, and I've been testing it out for the past couple of weeks. And so far it's been an okay experience. I have to say I was a little bit disappointed based on what I'd heard about the company and this bag specifically. I think that there are just other bags in this same category that do the same things but a little bit better. So not a bad bag by any means, but I do think there are some things that could have been improved. And so I'm excited to talk through those things with you guys, and let's just jump in and take a closer look at the Summoner pack from Chrome Industries. So starting out with the outside of the bag, I really like the overall look. I think it is very unique compared to a lot of the other travel bags that I've seen. The 600D twill polyester on the outside gives it a nice kind of denim feel, and I really like the heathered gray color that the bag has. The material also feels really durable and like it's going to offer a fair amount of weather resistance. On top of that, the bag has nice YKK zippers all around, and they all seem to offer a good amount of water resistance. On the front, for this one that's a little bit more exposed, you see that it includes an aqua guard, so really well built bag. It definitely feels like it's going to hold up over the longer term. As far as the silhouette, I really like how slim the bag looks. It comes at a 32-liter capacity, which is a really solid travel bag size. That's typically the size that I like to use. Even with the bag filled up, as I have it here, it never ends up looking that big, making it very easy to just run around the city or jump into public transport. And with the 32 liters of capacity, I was able to put enough stuff for at least a week and a half of travel, but it wasn't able to hold quite as much as some of the other similarly sized bags that we've looked at in the past, and we'll talk about that a little bit more when we dive into the main compartments. Continuing along the outside, one thing I was sad to see is that there is no external water bottle compartment, but you do have two durable side handles and one at the top, making it very easy to put the bag into an overhead storage compartment, or if you want to carry it like a briefcase. These handles feel really well made. They remind me a lot of the ones that we've seen on Air's bags. So they have this nice seatbelt-like material. They don't stick out awkwardly. They sit pretty flush against the bag, keeping a really clean look. So really like how these were implemented all around. One of the unique things about this bag is the 4 compression straps on the corners, and that is definitely nice for helping to give the bag a slimmer look when it's not as full, or to just tighten everything down so it doesn't shift. It also works to make this a somewhat usable daily bag when you don't want to use it for traveling. You can really pull these straps all the way down to make it a little bit slimmer. And for the most part, this works okay. I was a little bit disappointed with how cumbersome this could get. As you'll see when we get into the laptop compartment, you did have to unbuckle both of these at the top to be able to reach it, and then the straps kind of end up looking pretty messy when the bag is emptier. They tend to come out a nice amount, and so they have these plastic clips that are meant to kind of keep everything together, but in general they kind of slip out pretty easily, and even when the bag is compressed down, you end up having all this leftover kind of strap here, so it doesn't really have that nice of a look in my opinion. Jumping into the straps on the back paneling, the bag has been pretty comfortable to wear. The straps here have a nice amount of padding. They're pretty soft. They have a nice mesh lining on the inside to help prevent moisture from building up. They also have a nice width to prevent the bag from digging into your shoulders when you're wearing it with a lot of weight. On top of that, they also include an adjustable sternum strap to help distribute some of the weight. You don't have the ability to add any sort of waist belt, but I don't really think that's necessary for a bag of this size. Jumping into the back paneling, you have a nice amount of padding here. I really like all these little ridges to create these air channels to help airflow keep moving throughout the day. So for the most part, it's been pretty comfortable. This padding is a little bit more rigid than what I would like to see on a back paneling, and I also wish that it included the same mesh that we saw on the straps, as this can tend to get a little bit more moist. Jumping into the organizational options, this is definitely an area where I struggled a lot with the bag. To me, a lot of the pockets just seem very small and hard to use. And so jumping into this first quick access compartment on the front, as I mentioned earlier, this has a nice well-protected YKK zipper with a zipper garage, and so this is going to allow quick access to smaller accessories. And so currently what I have in here is just a lightning cable to charge my phone. And so very simple compartment here, very small too. I was kind of confused at how to use this. You can see it comes down here to the edge, a little bit shorter than the length of my fingers, and then it goes in just a little bit. So kind of an awkward positioning here. Definitely not gonna be able to fit anything too bulky or large, so it's gonna be good for something like a cable or your phone as you're going through TSA. This compartment also got tougher to use as I filled out the rest of the bag, so really wish that you had been given a little bit more volume here to take better advantage of the fact that you can get to this quickly. At the top, you have another quick access compartment. This one does have a nice felt lining on the inside to allow you to store some more delicate items. This one also has a little bit more space, so I was able to get my Apple Magic Mouse into here, and then I also managed to squeeze in my GoPro Hero 3 Plus. So a little bit more volume, and as you can see, that soft inner lining is going to be great for helping to prevent against scratching, so this might be a good spot to put your phone or your sunglasses. As far as the volume for this compartment, you can see it goes down a little bit more, so it can barely fit my hand in here. So as with the front compartment, they're just a little bit tighter than I would like to see on these quick access areas, especially considering how hard it is to get into the main areas of the bag because of all the buckles that this has. So I wish that a little bit more space had been provided here as well. The last little pocket on the outside is this kind of secret compartment that lays close to your neck and the straps, and this is going to be a pretty flat area that might be good for putting something more sensitive like your wallet or a passport. Currently what I have in here is just a field notes notebook to kind of showcase the size. One thing to note though is that if you put anything even a little bit thick, you may start to feel it against your back, and it'll also start to press up against this stuff in the main area, which might include your laptop. So just something to keep in mind, but still nice to kind of have this little secret compartment included here. And so although this is a travel bag and it opens up flat like a suitcase, you do have the ability to access one side of the bag through this duffel style opening on the front. And so I like how this flap gives a lot of protection to this zipper, and so this is going to be a great area to be able to more quickly get into at least some of the items that you're traveling with. And so I'll go into this area in a little bit more detail when I open it up flatter. And so this is going to be great for if I have my toiletries or my headphones in this front area of the bag, I can just reach in and grab them pretty quickly. The use of these duffel style compartments can be a little bit of a mixed bag, especially when the bag is really packed out. But with the way that I have it here, it works out pretty nicely to be able to just reach down and grab a few items that I need while I'm on the go. One thing I would have liked to have seen here is maybe some smaller quick access compartments on the side, similar to what we saw with the NordaPack, to just add a little bit of organization into kind of this big bucket area of stuff. And then before jumping in the main area, one thing I will mention is that you do have this top zipper that provides access into the main area where you could grab your laptop, and there's also a small admin panel that we'll take a closer look at in a little bit when we jump into the main compartment. But as I was mentioning earlier, in order to access the laptop from this top area, you need to unbuckle both of these top straps, which I guess is nice to provide a little bit of security, especially since this doesn't have lockable zippers, but it ends up being just more inconvenient when you want to get to your device quickly, especially when you're going through the airport security. And so opening this up, as you can see, it has a nice, well-protected, water-guarded zipper. And so here you can see that there's just a lot of stuff in the main area, but you could reach down and get to the laptop pocket if you needed to. There's also a few slip pockets on the front of here, but we'll take a closer look at that in a second. And so releasing the other two buckles, we can go ahead and jump into the main suitcase style opening. And as with any great travel bag, it's always nice to be able to open flat for easier packing. And so the bag is divided into two larger main areas. I'll start with the one that sits closer to your back, as this is where I would put most of my larger items and where we can take a closer look at the laptop compartment. And I like that these compartments have this sort of separation so you can easily open it and not worry about things falling out. And so a nice meshing material here. It has a nice amount of give too, so if you have something a little bit bulkier, it'll also help to push everything down. And so jumping into this area, the first thing that I have here is just my larger double-sided packing cube with my shirts and jeans and larger clothing items. And then I also have my nomadic toiletry bag, which I've been testing out recently. And so now with the compartment a little emptier, you can get a closer look at the inside and the laptop area. So I really like how the laptop compartment was implemented. One thing that was really, really well done is that it's elevated on all sides, so it's gonna be very well protected from drops. And so at the top, the compartment has this nice little strap to keep your device in place. And the sleeve offers a decent amount of padding. It's a little bit flimsier than I like to see for laptop compartments, and it doesn't have any sort of felt lining on the inside, but it does offer some padding, and it's able to hold up to a 15-inch laptop. I think that would be a little bit of a tight fit. Currently what I have in here is my 13-inch MacBook Pro, and the strap just barely makes it over the top. So if you had a really tall device, I think it would get a little bit awkward to use this strap. And so now with the compartment empty, you can get a feel for what it looks like on the inside. It comes up a nice amount if you have a bulkier device. One thing that's unfortunate about placing the laptop compartment in this area is this is where I put a lot of my heavier and bulkier travel items, so I would be a little bit worried about them starting to press up against the screen. I also have a little slip pocket here to include something like a tablet or a Kindle. Currently what I have is my iPad mini 2, and that fits in there pretty comfortably, but this sleeve doesn't offer any sort of protection or felt lining. It's just a very simple pocket to keep things organized. In addition to the laptop and larger slip pocket here, you have a smaller slip pocket where you could put something like a mouse or a portable hard drive. And then you have a few slots where you could put something like a pen or a stylus. As you can see, I currently had these empty just because I wanted to use all that space more for my travel items as opposed to having things poking up awkwardly. So really just don't like the decision to include the organizer and laptop panel in this same area that I would use my travel items with. This also makes it very difficult to use for your day-to-day. It's not that easy to access these types of things that you would probably use pretty regularly if you were moving throughout the day. So a decent amount of space for all your travel items in this part of the bag, but I do wish that it didn't have to share space with all this tech stuff. Jumping into the other side of the bag, on the flap here you have a few additional smaller compartments where you could toss in things like cables. On the bottom you have a mesh zippered area. One thing to note about this top area here is that it actually goes all the way to the bottom, so it is a little bit of a taller pocket. If you have a thin jacket or a pair of thin sandals that you'd like to throw in there, that should work okay. I have chosen not to use these pockets just because I find it very hard to close suitcase style bags like this when there's items protruding out from the top. I also feel like it takes some space away from the bucket style area, so I prefer to just leave these empty or use them for very thin items like a cable or a pair of socks or something like that. And so opening this other flap up, this is the other side of the duffel style opening, so this one sits closer to the front, but still a nice amount of space here as well. Currently what I have is just my smaller packing cube with my underwear and socks and t-shirts. And then I also have an extra pair of shoes. I have my Toms, which I take with me on every trip. Then I also have my Kindle e-reader. And then I also have my in-case accessory pouch, which has some of the bulkier tech accessories that I typically carry with me. There weren't really a lot of good pockets to place it throughout the rest of the bag, so I just tossed them all into this pouch to make them easy to grab from the front zippered opening. And then the last item that I have here is just my Ray-Bans with their case. Because I still like to carry my sunglasses with their case and there wasn't another good spot to put them in the bag, I just put them here so that I could easily reach in through the duffel opening and grab them if I needed to. So now with the compartment empty, you can see that it's just kind of a very simple amount of space, no sort of internal organization, no straps or anything like that. So really easy to kind of lay everything out, especially if you like to use pouches for packing as I typically do. And for the most part, I was impressed with how much this was able to hold. I do wish that I had been able to squeeze in an additional pair of shoes. I tried, as I have done with a lot of other travel bags, but it just got a little bit tight and hard to close the zippers up, so I chose to just travel with the Toms and use the remaining space for some of the other items that I typically want to travel with. If you choose to use the bag for your day-to-day, this is probably one of the pockets that will be the easiest to access because of that duffel style opening, so it's interesting that it's just a larger bucket. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, I do wish that there had been some simple compartments laid out like we saw with the Nordipack, so that it'd be a little bit easier to kind of just separate and find things as you're moving about throughout your day. So pretty good implementation on this main area overall. If you're planning to use this for traveling, it's gonna offer a decent amount of space and a nice look in a compact package. However, if you wanted to use this more for your day-to-day, it is definitely gonna be a little bit of a disappointing experience. And so to wrap up, it's been a pretty good experience testing out the Summoner backpack over the past couple of weeks. The bag has a nice look and a solid build quality, but there are some things that I really wish would have been improved with regards to the organization and capacity that the bag has. And so you can purchase this on Amazon or Chrome's site for about $160 to $180. I've seen the price jump around a little bit. And I think this is a pretty reasonable price considering the features and quality that the bag offers. With that being said, there are a lot of great travel bags in this price range. And so as I was testing this out, the first bag that came to mind was the Nordipack, which we looked at pretty recently. And that bag just went through a successful Kickstarter, and it also has a very similar travel bag style. It opens like a suitcase. It has a duffel style opening on the front. It has a little bit more of a professional style, and it kind of manages to conquer a lot of the issues that I had with this bag effectively. So it's able to better manage the space. It offers a lot of nice organizational options to kind of spread out your smaller accessories, and it just works really well as both a daily and travel bag. The next bag that this reminded me of was the Tortuga Set Out Divide, which has a similar style and capacity, and it's just been a great expandable and compressible travel bag. It comes in at a very similar price range to this at around $170, $180. It has a really solid build quality. I actually think it's much more comfortable than this, and I like the way the organization in that bag is laid out. You just have a little bit more options, and for the most part, I think it's just gonna be a very great alternative to this if you're looking for something in a similar price range. The next bag this reminded me of was the NAC Medium Expandable NAC Pack, which has been one of the best kind of hybrid bags that we've featured on the channel. It works very well as a daily bag or as a travel bag. When it's expanded out, it can hold about the same amount of stuff as this bag here. And I also like the way the organization in that bag was laid out much better. That bag comes in at around $170, $180 as well. It's very well built. It has a little bit more of a professional look, so if you're looking for something for work travel or you really like the ability to expand and compress, I definitely recommend you check the NAC bag out. Another good option in this price range to check out would be something like the Topo Designs 30-liter travel bag. That has a very unique look. It's got a very outdoorsy and heritage type feel, and it offers tons of space and organization. I really enjoyed using that bag. It's gonna be a little bit smaller than this. It comes in at 30 liters versus the 32 that this bag has here. That's been a great one to test out. It comes in at around $180 as well, and it's been very durable and stylish to use. The last option I'll mention here is the 2019 version of the Oppose This Invisible Carry-On. I was really impressed with that bag when we looked at it pretty recently. That one doesn't have the ability to expand and compress, and it comes in at 25 liters liters, but it's somehow able to hold about the same amount of stuff as you can fit in this bag. So it's just got a very efficient, streamlined look. It is going to be a little bit more of an investment. It comes in closer to the $200 price point, but the bag has a really solid build quality, a great look, and I'm just kind of shocked at how much stuff it's able to hold considering how small the silhouette is. But with all that being said, the Chrome Summoner is still going to offer a nice build quality and a unique look. It didn't quite work out as well as I had hoped for my packing style and the items that I typically like to take with me. But if this is something that you had your eye on, I think you can still buy with confidence and know that you're going to get a pretty decent little travel bag. And so I'm definitely curious to hear what you guys thought of the Summoner pack. Do you agree with a lot of the issues that I had with the bag, or do you think that those aren't really deal breakers? And if you've used other Chrome bags in the past, I'm definitely curious to hear what your experience has been and if there's good options that you think I should feature on the channel. And as always, if you guys found this video useful, please give us a like below. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos. And thank you guys so much.